gotta have sorry guys, this week's episode's not gonna happen because the group I did it with wasn't very good. Great story, but they didn't want to do it. So I tried to force them into it, thought I could. Guess what, guys? Didn't work out. But we'll have one next week. See you on Tuesday.
It's like to think my favorite shows are like the Beverly Hills, like Housewives. Like they just sit and do this.
They do this all the time. Yeah.
So funny. Couldn't do it.
They are not kidding. They both did not want to do this at all. I had to fly to Pensacola, spend 4 days convincing them, but I finally cracked them and they shared their love story with us. So on today's episode, we've got Omar and Leanna. This is Looking for Eve. I'm Adam, and before we start, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But on today's episode, we got one incredible roller coaster of a love story. So put your seatbelt on because we're starting off with the first 24 hours that Leanna and Omar spent together.
The first time I actually met Omar,
There was a volleyball league.
one of my good friends from volleyball was like, you need to come and start playing sand volleyball.
I told her I didn't want to do it because the league is a commitment.
I had zero desire to play.
She was like, hey, this really pretty girl is looking for a partner that I'm friends with. She just like desperately wants to play.
And she was like, I have this guy. He really wants to play co-ed doubles, but he can't find a partner. Like, he's super good.
She's really good. She played in college.
Please play with him.
Come on, I need to find her a partner.
And I have a hard time saying no to people.
She asked me again, and I was like, is she hot? And she was like, yeah, she's gorgeous. I was like, all right, I'll play.
If he really wants to play, I'll play.
We end up actually playing pickup that weekend.
And so we were like setting up the lines.
They're setting up the lines for their court, the girls are, and the guys are doing it for their court. So we finish ours.
And again, I was not used to playing sand volleyball. So I was like trying my best to help the girls set up the lines, and I didn't know how to do it.
And I look over and see just how bad of a job they're doing. And it's going to be a court that we're going to play on one day. And I was like, oh, the lines are crooked. We're going to have to fix this. I'm going to go help them.
Like, I didn't even know that this was who she was talking about. Came over and was like, oh, let me help you with this. Like, and fixed what I had just done.
I moved it from the position she put it and started doing it. And she's like, what, are you a perfectionist?
Or something. Like, he maybe shifted it like a millimeter of like where I had it.
Which, if you know me, I'm not a perfectionist. So it was just, she was doing a bad job.
So that was like our first, like, that was the first time I ever saw him, met him. And I was like, oh, he's cute. But I was not, I was just like, why did this man come over here and fix what I just did?
And then we're playing.
And he was like,
you're going to miss this serve. And she goes, I don't miss serves.
And in my head, I was like, there's no way I'm going to miss this serve.
If you do miss the serve, you got to go on a date with me.
And I somehow missed the serve. And he was like, oh, yeah, like whatever. I guess he thought I did it on purpose. I literally in my head was like, if I miss this serve, I'm going to be so pissed at myself because I was like, who does this boy think he is?
I'm like, jackpot, right?
So after we all got done playing volleyball,
we ended up going on a date.
And when we got there, first off, he was driving a minivan.
I was a claims adjuster at the time. I drove a minivan.
And he doesn't have shoes on.
Because I thought I was playing volleyball and then just going right home.
This man is about to walk in a restaurant barefooted, and we're calling this a date.
And I go to my trunk and I have what's called cougar paws.
And so he put these huge boots on.
Boots with a sponge-like material on the bottom.
You're supposed to wear them on top of a roof.
I'm like, this is all I got. Like, in my mind, like, take me or leave me.
I was like, this is embarrassing. I hope I don't see anybody I know in this sandwich shop.
We go to Nuke's.
And he's like, oh, man.
Hey, I'm so sorry. I don't have my wallet on me.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm technically the one that missed the serve, so I paid for our first date. And that was our first date.
Then we just started hanging out from there.
I will say, like, from the first time that we went on our Nuke's date where he didn't have shoes or his wallet, he just, like, made me feel so comfortable. And, like, I was, like, laughing at everything he said. And, he's just so, like, I don't know. He just has the ability to, like, make everybody just, like, feel good, if that even makes sense.
I love that Leanna didn't let those red flags stand in the way of her getting to know Omar and falling in love with him. Now, Leanna and Omar started to see more and more of each other, and their relationship started to take off. Now, you think that might be a moment in this story where they reach a pinnacle, but actually, Omar's about to break up with Leanna. Let's watch how that happens.
One of the things about my relationship with Leanna is I always said, like, I'm going to do it my way.
He, from the beginning, had said, my family is Muslim and like they expect me to marry somebody that is, Arabic or like Palestinian or whatever. And I was just like, okay. At that point, I still kind of was like, I'm just going to be single forever. Like I didn't really see it as like the long haul either. And then
we ended up like getting pretty serious.
And I just remember being so sad.
I was always thought I was going to marry a Muslim girl, traditional Muslim girl. My parents raised me that way. So I was like, okay, this isn't, I like her so much, but this isn't going to work out. So I just broke up at my peak of liking her. I'm like, I like you so much, I got to break up with you. That's what I'm thinking in my mind.
So he was constantly like breaking up with me and I would be devastated, whatever.
Probably go like 3 days without talking. And then we're going to say, we're going to stay friends. That doesn't work.
And so that kind of appeased me for a while. And I was like, okay.
Luckily, I was irresistible. She took me back.
It was like the third time maybe he broke up with me. And I was like, okay. Bye.
She went off on me the second time. The first time it was more of a like, let me do what I got to do to get him back. The second time was she went off on me.
Do not contact me again because this is the final straw. Like I'm not doing this again.
It hit me that I just like gave up the person I wanted to be with. And because I was trying to live the dream of that or live the thought of what my life should be, not the reality of like where it was.
So then there was like another meltdown by me, most likely, where I was like, you have to tell your parents.
I am pacing in the driveway. My dad comes out, is like, is everything okay?
Whenever he finally was like, okay, I'm going to tell my parents, he viewed me as his partner. And that was the first time he did view me as his partner.
So I go into the house. My parents are in bed. They're not asleep yet. I'm like, hey, I need to tell you something.
He went into his discussion with his parents as if he was about to lose them. And that's why he was hysterical. It was like he 100% in his brain thought, after I tell them this, they're going to say, you have to pick her or us.
I've never talked to them about anything serious before. So they saw the seriousness of it. Like me walking in, I was worried. My heart was beating. I was like probably breathing hard. Very nervous of how they were going to respond.
And it's funny, later on, his mom was like, oh, I thought you had cancer, she was like, oh my God, this is it? This is a white girl? We can deal with that. We thought you were literally dying.
And they were kind of like, we'll get through it. Almost like I had cancer. I just told them I had cancer in their eyes. And they're like, we're going to figure this out.
So then I met them. I love his parents. They love me. Me and his dad are best friends. I think his dad likes me more than he likes him. So
I needed to start sacrificing my thoughts and what I wanted and my plan, not just for her, but my love for her. That started outweighing other things that I was thinking, which I never even considered.
In his culture, after you tell your parent, you basically get engaged. And so that's kind of what happened.
And that just started the downhill of being a partner. Man, it was fun being selfish. I miss it so much. Doing everything around me. It's the good times, everyone. Being married, having kids, amazing. Wouldn't trade it for the world. Not as fun.
Omar and I have been friends for forever. We went to college together. And I remember him meeting Leanna, growing with Leanna, breaking up with Leanna. One of the things that he had said to me one time that it's always stuck with me all these years later is what Leanna means to him. He had said to me, he was like, hey, you know how we've gone on all these vacations, all these things together. We saw Auburn win a national championship together. We went to Vegas and bet on March Madness games. We've done a lot of really cool things. And then he said, I would trade every single one of those just for a moment with Leanna sitting on the couch, just being there with her. That's what she means to me. I think that's what we're all looking for. All right, now with that being said, let's dive into, which might be one of the craziest proposals we've ever had on here.
Proposal, not glamorous.
The stars had aligned and we had both ended up in Pensacola.
So she was driving from Pensacola to Mobile, hour and 15 minutes to work.
I lived in the tiniest little apartment. I'm pretty sure you could touch one end of it and the other end at the same time. But I lived in a really tiny apartment and I was working and going to school.
So I have the ring. I'm ready to propose.
And I was coming back And Omar like kept calling me.
And she was in Mobile, and she was coming back, and I needed that because I needed time to set something up.
I'm like, I'm crossing the state line. Like, I'll be there soon.
So then I just said, okay, I'm going to go buy a bunch of flowers and fill her apartment.
He like called again. I'm like, okay, what is going on?
I'm so cheap at this point. I go to a flower place and I like look at the flowers and I'm like, I want to fill her apartment up. Like, fill it up. Or she will like just annoying the flowers. I go and I'm like, oh my God, this is going to cost me like $500. Like, I didn't think this through. This is my plan.
He had seen how much roses were.
Go to Walmart, buy as many flowers, because I was just thinking like quality wasn't. At this point, I'm like, I got to stick to this plan. And quality of the flowers isn't what's important. It's quantity. Quantity of the flowers.
He had gone to like Lowe's or somewhere and bought potted hanging plants because they were cheaper.
And so I bought as many just crappy, cheap flowers and fill up her apartment.
And put them all over the apartment.
Definitely not luxurious. She doesn't look back at it and go, he did it right.
Oh, I had flowers everywhere, rose petals, and I was literally potted hanging plants with like petunias and stuff.
But like very soon after, we're not talking much long at all, she was like, get these flowers.
Oh, but I love it so much because I love a good bargain. That's my thing. So he probably knew I would appreciate that.
I think I'm crying right now. Leanna and I were dying with laughter as we talked about those potted plants. So funny. All right, if you made it this far, again, make sure you hit that subscribe button, that like button, send this to a friend. And here's something that I'm going to start adding into the end of the episodes. All right, and all that being said, your thoughts about Leanna?
I mean, outside of just the simple things of, love of my life and how much I love her and how great of a mother she is to our kids. And she's my ride or die, right? So like, this has not been easy. I am the realist of all realists. So like, I don't sugarcoat things. I can be optimistic if that's the real in it. And I can be pessimistic if that's the real in it. And just like the evolution of just someone's life comes with a lot of like challenges and roadblocks, and you don't really foresee a lot of them. You have to experience them, and it's been super hard. And like, because of her, I'm like, hey, no matter what, we're gonna get through it. It's not, a lot of times it doesn't go like we expect, but like one thing that makes it okay is like, well, she'll still be there. She's just my consistent part of me, right? And it allows me to do some like riskier things or take some chances in life. And through the ups and downs, she's just been who I turn to, and I can't imagine life without her. I probably don't show her the appreciation that she deserves, like especially because she's like the best mom to our kids. And I put a lot on her. Like, I make her be the tough parent a lot, and I'm just so lazy. And she puts up with all my bullshit. I would honestly at this point be lost without her. And if I'd ever had her, my life would have gone completely different direction. And I'm pretty confident it wouldn't have turned out as good as it is right now.
Like the thing that got me.
Yeah, I guess.
Omar is just like the most genuine person you will ever meet. Like, whenever you first meet him, he's always cracking jokes. He makes you feel good. And just like being around him can put you in a good mood. I kind of struggle with like being anxious and like constantly overthinking things. And it's like, he is like the one person that I've met in my life that can just be like, everything's going to be okay. And I like believe him. So like, I could just be going through like the craziest thing, and then I'll call him and I'll be like, listen to this. Whether I'm mad, like, and worked up about something, or I'm like just stressed out about something, he just has a way of like making you feel like everything's going to be okay. And sometimes he's right and sometimes he's not, but along the way, he just makes you feel good about it. So that's just my thing with him.
All right, well, that wraps up this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Let me give a huge shout out, though, to Jackson, Caden, and Layla. Thank you so much for letting me steal your parents for a couple of hours and record this video. And for all of you out there, I hope you learned something. That's the point of these videos, is to take something away that you can apply to your love life. And of course, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. Share it with a friend. We're going to be here every week bringing you these incredible love stories. So with that being said, I'll talk to you next week.